Well, good day and welcome to episode 6 of The Driving Force, a production of the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. My name is Todd Blunt and I'm joined today by my co-host Garrett Wheat.
Hello.
We are thrilled that you've chosen to come along for this journey as we highlight the people and projects that are driving change in Louisiana transportation. For the past 38 years, LTRC has merged the resources of state government and Louisiana's great universities to identify, develop, and implement new technology to enhance our state's transportation system and beyond. We serve a broad range of constituencies across the state and the nation through training classes, special events, and a wide range of publications highlighting who we are and what we do. Speaking of publications, we are excited to welcome the head of our LTRC publications team, Emily Wolfe, to the podcast today. Emily has been an invaluable part of the team at LTRC for nearly 2 decades now, serving in several different roles, most recently as Public Information Director. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will jump into our conversation with Emily. Welcome back to The Driving Force. We are delighted to have joining us today Emily Wolfe, LTRC's Public Information Director. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we mentioned in our opening that you have been a part of the LTRC team for nearly 20 years. What are some of the biggest changes you've seen at the center from the time you arrived until now?
Well, the biggest thing that comes to mind is the evolution of our online presence as the internet has changed. When I first started at LTRC as an editor back in 2002, we had a very, very simple website with a basic overview of who we are and just a handful of photographs. It wasn't common to post our publications online at the time, so we were printing literally hundreds of hard copies of reports, capsules, summaries, and other items to send to libraries and other interested parties just via old school snail mail. I remember another big effort in the mid-2000s to scan our entire library of LTRC final reports to be available as a PDF download on our website. That was a huge project. Now our document distribution is handled almost entirely digitally, allowing us to reach more people and save on printing costs. I also think our editorial processes have become more streamlined through the years, and now we even have a custom designed tracking system to help us meet our turnaround timelines on all these publications. Thinking about 20 years ago and what the event space looked like, LTRC was hosting the Transportation Engineering Conference at a local hotel, and all the registrations were handled paper forms and checks.
No way.
Yes. So now that event is hosted at the Raising Cane's River Center in Baton Rouge, and it averages 1,800 attendees. And fortunately, we don't have that many paper forms to handle. So we've integrated e-commerce into our workflow, and we handle all course registrations and payments online. Still take checks, though, but you can register online. And in 2018, we launched our registration management system, and that now serves as the central point of registration for all of our conferences, training, classes, and other things. So users from all areas of government, industry, academia, they create student profiles, and they can see a running history of all the events they've attended.
I can't imagine doing a conference with even 1,000 or 500 people, all paper.
Yes, that was not part of my job when I first started, but I worked down the hall from people who did, and it was lots and lots of snail mail.
Well, and that wasn't even like that long ago, like in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
That's crazy how far we've come in just like less than 2 decades.
Well, the internet's changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely the biggest change I've seen. And going along with that, social media has also emerged. We did not have Facebook or Twitter or any of those things in the early 2000s. So now we can supplement our web content through all the appropriate channels. We have brief articles, spotlights, videos. We live in an online world now, and the creative technology in photography and design is changing all the time, and that gives our team a fun challenge and helps us, keep learning and stay current.
Awesome. So how does your team help bridge the gap between what we're doing here, I say we, as LTRC day-to-day, and the transportation community at large? What are some ways that we're helping tell the story of LTRC across Louisiana and beyond?
So each research project at LTRC has a publications life cycle, and our team works with our researchers at every step to create useful information for all of our stakeholders. From a project capsule that's published at when a project starts all the way to the final report that shows the full findings, we strive to help investigators clearly and succinctly communicate the value of their research. And going along with that, like I mentioned, social media has also emerged as a great way to share all of this research information and tech transfer quickly. And we get the extra benefit of our current followers also sharing to their networks as well.
Sure. And when somebody sees something that's theirs, they want to share it.
Exactly. We see that a lot in the research space now. It's a great way for them to promote themselves. And so, yeah, we have a great team that can take, these complicated research findings, create a very brief, readable article, add some video when needed, create some great graphics that get people's attention. And so this type of sharing we found really supplements our standard newsletters that we publish quarterly for both LTRC and LTAP, and that's the best way to get things out on a more timely basis.
Sure.
Well, Emily, we've already made mention of this a couple of times, but obviously we live in a time of rapid change, especially in the area of communication. So what are some ways that LTRC is working to respond to these changes and tap into new opportunities to highlight the valuable work being done in and through the center?
Okay, so as you know, the theme of this conversation is that we're online right now. So visual identity is very important. And our publications team has worked really hard to keep our logo and branding fresh and current. In fact, this past year, we unveiled new logos for LTRC and LTAP, and along with the event logo for the Louisiana Transportation Conference. Our previous logo served us well for many years, but, just like with anything, you need a refresh every so often. And another thing we deal with in this online world is that we have a very limited window of opportunity to capture a reader's attention. All of us, I know you guys experience this as well. We're inundated with words and images all day, every day. Emails, memo, web content, social media. It's on our phones. It's on our computers. So today's readers need the most important takeaways up front, very quickly. And we've learned that presenting news, with an eye-catching graphic or video, it's going to attract a reader and make them engage further.
Yeah, I think about that, even like the difference between like my wife and I and our kids when it comes to attention spans for even just entertainment media. I mean, it can be hard to gather 30 minutes, 45 minutes of attention from a kid versus like it was nothing for us to sit down and watch a 2-hour movie. So the same thing's true in print, the same thing's true in social media. Like you gotta grab them fast. And so I know that's why I'm grateful for like our photography, videography, graphic design. Like that's huge in helping people to pay attention and dial in to the great things that are happening.
Yeah, one of my favorite books that I've read recently is entitled Smart Brevity. And one of the key takeaways from that is short doesn't mean shallow. So try to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, and even as an educator, like people learn differently. And even if you don't learn differently, you prefer something more so than others. Reading a book, audio book versus a movie or something.
Right.
So, I mean, yesterday, actually, I was listening to this app I have where they do abridged versions of books. So you don't, not necessarily so you don't have to read it all, but so it's like a recap and they had one for The Great Gatsby. I was like, well, I've read The Great Gatsby. I've seen the movie. I want to hear what they say. So just having it in a different medium is useful too.
Right.
So you also mentioned you oversee the registration management system. What can you tell our listeners about conferences, training courses, and all the other special events you mentioned that might be coming up this year, next year? And for those who are interested in participating, how can they get more information and register?
Okay, well, first of all, I'd recommend anybody to visit our website at www.ltrc.lsu.edu and join our e-newsletter mailing list. You'll also find a link here to that in the show notes, I believe. There's a link on the homepage to register for courses and events, and that will lead you directly to the registration management system. And even if you haven't created a username and password, you could still view a list of all the available events at any given time. And if you do decide to attend one, it's a simple one-time process to create your profile. You'll see the variety of courses offered, whether it's presented by LTAP, the Local Technical Assistance Program, We have National Highway Institute. We have hands-on specialized software, computer training, a wide variety of events. And as we are taping this interview, our 2025 Louisiana Transportation Conference is quickly approaching, so we're in the mix of planning for that. That link will also be in the show notes. It's happening March 16th through 19th, 2025 at the River Center. And that's a great event for professional engineers and other transportation professionals to earn their PDHs and their ethics hour that's required by lapels.
Thanks, Emily, for taking some time with us today to share how LTRC is connecting with the broader transportation community in Louisiana and beyond through just a really diverse range of communication initiatives. So before we go, we'd love to have a little bit of fun with you. Garrett has prepared a few lightning round questions. So don't think too hard about these.
Okay.
We're just going to have a little fun. Garrett, you want to get us started?
Yeah, so you just mentioned you recently read a book called Smart Brevity, but that was kind of work-related.
Yes.
Even if you don't think it was, it's professional development, we'll call it. So what's the best book you've read this year that's not work-related?
I would have to say The Women by Kristen Hanna. But I'm also reading one right now, Frozen River by Ariel Lawson, that's also very promising. I'm about a third of the way through that.
Okay. What is your go-to order at your favorite coffee shop?
I'm pretty basic when it comes to coffee. At Starbucks, I usually get a tall blonde roast with half and half and a Splenda.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
This is a leading question to the main question, but how many LSU sporting events would you say you've attended in the last couple of years?
Definitely all the football games. So that would be about 12 right there in the last couple of years. And I've had season tickets to the women's basketball games, also in the men's. So that's probably
Baseball?
not baseball season tickets. I've gone to a few. So probably all in about 50.
And you've been to some gymnastics?
A few.
Okay. So if you could build a statue of only one former LSU athlete on campus, who would it be?
Well, I think Joe Burrow would be the obvious one. And
I
then
agree.
after that, then Jaden's got to, Jane
Okay.
Daniels should not be far behind.
She wants to build multiple statues.
Yes.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Emily, for joining us as our special guest here today. We so enjoyed getting to spend a few minutes talking with you and learning from you. We're going to take a quick break before we finish up today's episode. Well, that's all we have for you today on episode 6 of The Driving Force, a production of the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. As we've discussed today, you can learn more about what's happening at LTRC by visiting us online at ltrc.lsu.edu or on social media through Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You don't want to miss out on any of the tremendous content that our team is producing and sharing in these areas. On our next episode, we have a double feature for you as we will talk with two members of our fantastic LTAP, Local Technical Assistance Program team, Courtney Dupree and Haley Ortiz, about their work serving local governments across Louisiana. Until then, we are your hosts, Garrett Wheat and Todd Blunt, and we thank you so much again for joining us today. Drive safely out there.